In a meeting with parliamentarians, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the extraterritorial attack on Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh, stating it violated international law. Sharif highlighted the dire situation in Gaza, noting the deaths of thousands of children and the destruction of hospitals, emphasizing the global condemnation of the deadly attack on Haniyeh in Iran. Meanwhile, Planning Minister Ahsan Iqbal has stated that the PMLN has no concerns about potential talks between the military and PTI. Speaking to Voice of America Urdu, Iqbal asserted that the military is unlikely to interfere in politics again, having decided to stay out of politics after 2018. He questioned why Imran Khan, who once called for military neutrality, is now seeking dialogue. Iqbal added that any potential ban on PTI would be based on strong evidence and adhere to the law and constitution. In other news, 24 people have been killed and 17 injured as monsoon rains hit Khyber Pakhtunkhwa from July 29 through Thursday, according to the Provincial Disaster Management Authority. The excessive rainfall caused flooding, roof collapses, and landslides, with Kohat being the hardest hit area. Rescue operations are ongoing, and the PDMA warns of more heavy rains expected until August 6. Similarly, Lahore experienced record-breaking rainfall on Thursday, with the airport area receiving almost 360 millimeters of rain within hours, surpassing a 44-year record. The Provincial Disaster Management Authority has forecast more monsoon rains in Punjab until August 6, with potential flooding expected in the Jhelum River at Mongla. In economic news, Pakistan's Consumer Price Index rose by 11.1% in July compared to the same month last year, according to the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics. This follows a 12.6% increase in June, with urban inflation at 13.2% and rural inflation at 8.1%. The rise was driven by increases in food prices, particularly tomatoes, fresh vegetables, and milk powder. On the financial front, Pakistan has received 5 bids from Chinese firms to help it raise funds via panda bonds, according to a Bloomberg report. These bonds will allow Pakistan to access capital from Chinese investors. The Finance Ministry is evaluating the proposals, aiming to sell up to $300 million in panda bonds this year, diversifying funding sources and attracting new investors. This follows Pakistan's recent $7 billion aid package deal with the International Monetary Fund, aimed at stabilizing the economy. In Gaza, Israeli attacks have claimed 15 lives in last 24 hours. This brings the total death toll to 39,480. Including 16,314 children, according to the Gaza government media office. In West Bank, Israeli forces have detained 35 Palestinians in their latest raids. Over 9,800 Palestinians have been detained since the conflict began, with reports of severe abuse and torture in Israeli prisons. Moreover, Israeli authorities have announced the seizure of about 790 hectares of land near the town of Salfit in the occupied West Bank, WAFA news agency reported. Meanwhile, oil prices surged after the killing of a Hamas leader in Iran raised fears of a wider Middle East conflict. Brent crude jumped to $81.55 a barrel, and U.S. West Texas Intermediate rose to $78.63. Analysts worry this escalation might disrupt oil supplies. A plane carrying the body of Ismail Haniyeh has landed in Doha after a public funeral in Iran. Hezbollah's Hassan Nasrallah has vowed retaliation against Israel following the deaths of Hezbollah's Fuad Shukr and Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Hamas has also called for a «day of furious rage» this Friday, marking the burial of Ismail Haniyeh in Qatar. The group urged mass protests and demonstrations against Israel from mosques after Friday prayers. On international front, UN Chief Antonio Guterres has condemned the recent escalations, calling for immediate de-escalation and protection of civilians. He emphasized the need for comprehensive diplomatic efforts to restore peace and stability. Furthermore, British Foreign Secretary David Lammy has renewed his call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Lammy made the remarks on X without elaborating on the subsequent Israeli war on Gaza that has killed nearly 40,000 Palestinians. Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi has said that Israel has turned into a rogue state with its assassination of the Hamas political leader and needs to be stopped. Russia has released Wall Street Journal journalist Evan Gershkovich and former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan in a landmark prisoner swap with the West. The news was confirmed by President Joe Biden. President Biden praised the swap as a major diplomatic success, resulting in the release of 16 people from Russia, including 5 Germans and 7 Russian political prisoners. The Wall Street Journal publication's leaders expressed their deep relief and happiness but noted many journalists remain imprisoned worldwide. Gershkovich, sentenced to 16 years last month on spying charges, and Whelan, detained in 2020, were both deemed wrongfully detained by the U.S. Turkey played a key role in this complex swap, involving 7 nations and 24 prisoners. The swap also saw the release of convicted murderer Vadim Krasikov and cybercriminal Roman Seleznev. This is the largest exchange between the US and Russia since the Soviet Union's end and follows last year's high-profile swap of Brittany Griner for Victor Bout. While US-Russia relations remain strained, this extensive swap underscores a significant diplomatic milestone,